Simple, cozy, and so easy to make. Here are 5 DIY gifts perfect for Christmas or any time you want to surprise someone that you love. First up, we have butter mints. Start by adding 1 stick of butter to a stand mixer and mixing it until creamy in texture. You want to make sure that this stick of butter is softened before you add it to your mixer. Next, you'll want to add about a half a teaspoon of peppermint extract to your butter, as well as some vanilla, about 1/4 a teaspoon. I like to measure with my heart though, and a pinch of salt. Also make sure that you are scraping everything down so that it all gets evenly mixed together. Next, get a sifter if you have one, and I like to do about 4 cups of powdered sugar. However, you can adjust the amount of powdered sugar based on your taste preferences. And then you just want to sift it all in there so that you don't have any clumps of powdered sugar. And then you're going to want to add 2 tablespoons of either heavy whipping cream or milk. And at this point, after you add your milk or heavy whipping cream, the dough should feel a lot like Play-Doh in texture, so not too greasy, but not too dry either. And then you can add some food coloring of choice. It is optional. I like to use this Watkins brand food coloring because it's dye-free. I added only a little bit to kind of give it a more pastel green color. However, if you wanted a more vibrant color, of course, you could add more food coloring. And then I like to roll my dough out into ropes and just chop little sections of it so that they look like little pillows. You could either use a bench scraper like I'm using, or you could use a small knife if you would prefer that. And then I like to get a drying rack and also some parchment paper. And then carefully transfer your mints onto the parchment paper so that they can dry out. The drying out process usually takes about 12 to 24 hours depending on how big the mints are, so just keep that in mind. If you would like to find out more about this recipe, be sure to check out my blog, blessedpursuitofmotherhood.com. I will have this recipe up on there in about a week or so after this video comes out. So be sure to go to my blog if you want further instructions and more tips and tricks on how to make these butter mints. Next up, we've got candied orange slices with chocolate. Now these are really good if you have somebody in your life who can't have dairy. Maybe just use a dairy-free chocolate. Or if you have somebody that you'd like to make a simple yet elegant looking gift for. So I like to start off by slicing these oranges as thinly as I possibly can. I have this mandolin tool that I got from Amazon. I'll link it in the description box below. And I usually take about 2 to 3 navel oranges and I try to slice them into a 1/4 inch thick slices or thinner. And then after you slice up all of your oranges, you'll want to get a pot to simmer some water and sugar in to make kind of like a simple syrup. So 1 cup of water and 2 cups of sugar, and then bring that to a boil. Be sure to really watch the mixture and stir it occasionally. Once you see that your sugar has completely dissolved, add in your orange slices to the boiling simple syrup. You'll want to reduce the heat to a simmer and let the oranges simmer for about an hour or so until they are translucent. Make sure that you stir occasionally. Once your oranges are ready to go, get out a piece of parchment paper. This will collect all of the drippings from the syrup that was on the oranges. And then I also like to use a cooling rack on top of the parchment paper to ensure that the oranges really dry out pretty thoroughly. And then let the orange slices dry for at least a few hours or even overnight until they are a little tacky but not super sticky anymore. I would also like to note that you do not have to dip these oranges in chocolate if you do not want to, or you know somebody who just doesn't like chocolate. On their own, they are really good as well. And if you wanted to make them even a little more sweet, you could maybe add a little bit of sugar to them as well, but that is completely optional. And then one of the perks of making these candied oranges, besides having your house smell really good like oranges, is that you'll get some orange simple syrup. So be sure to keep that and set it aside. It stores really well in the refrigerator. You can use it on top of ice cream and drinks, on pancakes, really anywhere that you would like some extra orange flavor. Next, you'll want to grab a bag of your favorite chocolate. I use about 10 ounces of it, and then melt it as the directions tell you to on the package. And you can either fully submerge all of your orange slices or just dip them halfway, completely up to you. Today I decided to just do halfway, and I wanted to add some fancy sea salt on my oranges, but you could also do some type of nut. I like to do pistachio on top of them. I think that that tastes really good, but it's really all about what you would prefer, so just go with whatever you think would taste best. You can store these candied oranges in an airtight container and use parchment paper to separate the layers of the orange slices. And if you would prefer to store these oranges in the refrigerator, you absolutely can. They will stay fresh for up to 1 to 2 weeks, so this gift is perfect for making a big batch and then just storing it until you need them. I like to try to make these orange slices around St. Nicholas Day, just because St. Nicholas is known for gold coins, and these oranges are vibrant and kind of gold in color, just like the gold coins that St. Nicholas is known for. And so I think that it's a special little tradition that you could do too, if you want to do something festive also around St. Nicholas Day. And then I found these really cute gingerbread house bags at Walmart, and I decided that they would be perfect for putting the orange slices into to easily hand them out. This is another recipe that is up on my blog. I will put some info down in the description below. However, if you go to blessedpursuitofmotherhood.com and look for candied oranges, you should find this recipe on there pretty easily. So be sure to check out my blog if you have any questions or would like to read some tips and tricks on how to make these. I have all of that information on the blog. And then here is the final product, the candied orange slices with chocolate. And then next up we have some Mod Podge DIYs. This is not up on my blog at all. However, I will put all of the information down below in the description box. This is some gold paint I like to use to put around the rim of the shell trinket dish. Here is a little glass container from a yogurt that I had. And then here are some little ornaments. I did not actually end up doing the ornaments just because it was a bit of a learning curve for me, and to be honest was kind of tricky. However, I did do the shell trinket dish as you saw and the little container. So these shells actually come from these seafood packs that I get from a local grocery store. They have these stuffed clams that I will buy occasionally. And so I will always save the shells when I get those packs of seafood. However, I will try to find some seashells that you could buy maybe from Amazon, and I'll try to put it in the description box below because I don't think that everybody quite has access to these seashells like I do. And then I get these napkins from Amazon. However, I've gotten pretty napkins before from TJ Maxx and Home Goods as well. I'm sure Walmart probably has some pretty napkins too, and even sometimes the dollar store. So really, whatever store you prefer to shop at, just look around and I'm sure that you could probably find some napkins that you would like to use on your own projects. After you have the outline cut out, just be sure to take the backing off of the napkin. It should peel off pretty easily, and then what you'll want to do is just put some Mod Podge all over the shell. And then you'll want to try and align the napkin cutout the best you can on your shell. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if it has some creases and wrinkles, it's not the end of the world. Usually you can't even really tell, and if you can, I think it adds to the texture and it ends up making this cool papery effect. So just smooth it out the best you can and then let it dry for a little bit. After it does, be sure to add a top coat of Mod Podge over it to kind of seal it in. And then just set your trinket dish aside to dry for about 10 or 15 minutes, and while that is drying, you can add some Mod Podge to your little jar. This is another project where you will have to work with the napkin a little bit. You could either cut out individual shapes and patterns and glue them on, or you could just do what I'm doing and take a big section and kind of wrap it around the jar. I ended up cutting a section of the napkin in two and then just lining up the areas that I could, and I ended up gluing another panel on the back of the napkin to kind of wrap around and make that complete design. And then I cut little notches into the napkin here so that I could easily get the bottom of the napkin to fit around the bottom of the jar. And I just used a little more Mod Podge here to seal it on. And then of course, don't forget to take some more Mod Podge to seal around the jar. And then there you have it, a cute little tea light, or honestly you could put other things in here as well, but it makes a beautiful little gift. And then I came back to the seashell. Now I'm just adding some of that gold to the edge of the seashell. You don't have to do this, but I think it gives it an extra little touch that makes it so pretty. And the beauty of painting it with this gold is that it doesn't have to be a perfect straight line. If you get it a little uneven, it looks completely fine and still looks really good. So I like to just do wherever there's kind of a gap between the napkin and the shell, if there is any gap, and even if there isn't, it just still really adds a beautiful touch. Again, I'll put this stuff in the description box below in case you're interested, but I really love this paint because it dries really quickly and I just think it looks absolutely beautiful. And there you have it, a cute little trinket dish. And lastly, we have my chai tea mix. Now, this will also be up on my blog under Dirty Chai Tea Latte. I tell you how to make the base for the chai tea as well as how to make an actual latte out of it. But I decided to do this recipe and to just triple it. However, if you just make one serving of it, it should be enough to at least make a couple cups for you. So I would just recommend starting out with that. But you'll need 3 teaspoons of cardamom, 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, 1.5 tablespoons of ginger, half a tablespoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cloves, and then 3 tablespoons of black tea finely grounded up. And so I, like I said, made a triple batch of this and I mixed it all together and then put it in a little jar. Feel free to put this mix in whatever type of jar or container you have that is pretty. Maybe add a nice little label to it so that people know what it is. You could even add a little piece of paper that has the instructions on it on how to make it. And what you'll want to do is just add the mix to some hot milk, and you can do a tablespoon at a time and adjust to taste, and then add whatever sweetener you want as well. So I warmed up my milk. I just did some whole milk, and then I added in about 2 tablespoons, I want to say, of the mix to my cup, just because I like it a little bit stronger. Be sure to mix everything really well. This part is optional, but I like to use a fine mesh strainer for this as well, just so that it's a little more smooth, but you don't have to do this. And I put it over ice just because I really like iced drinks. However, it tastes really good warm as well. And that is how you make the chai tea. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today as I made some simple DIYs. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, bye.